Now, please be warned that the story contains graphic content. The ANC in the Northwest has expressed disappointment and hurt at its councillor, who's accused of a raft of charges. These include statutory rape, manufacturing pornographic material, and intimidation.
And videos apparently showing some of these horrendous acts have gone viral on social media. The man has now appeared in court. He will stay in custody until his bail application next week.
While he is known to the SABC, we have decided not to name him to protect the children and until he pleads. Earlier, we spoke to ANC Northwest Provincial Secretary Louis Diremelo.
We are disappointed with the said councillor first and foremost. We are deeply hurt, how the councillor has represented us in that particular area. We can't overemphasize the disappointment, but we are hurt as an organization to such behaviors. So we are very highly disappointed, really. And then we did send our apologies, our sympathy to those particular victims that were affected by this particular crime. We have taken the matter, we are processing it through a DC procedure in terms of the constitution of the ANC. We are hoping that that is where he is going to explain himself in regard to these particular allegations, and from there we will take a decision. But we will stand with the victims on this one. We are very disappointed. I mean, the pictures can't lie.
Let's chat with the EFF's Northwest Provincial spokesperson, Fanon Muema, as well as Temba Masango, Secretary General of #NotInMyName. Good afternoon to you both, and thank you so much for your time. I'll start with you, Fanon. You've, as the EFF, dispatched your gender-based violence desk to deal with this particular matter. Have they met with the families and the children? And without identifying them, how are they? You are on mute, Fanon.
Okay, we sent a delegation of the gender-based violence desk of the EFF in the province to go and meet with the family and find out about the situation, their state of being. So they are going through a serious pain and suffering, and we really need to support them. And as the EFF, we are going to avail ourselves throughout to ensure that we give them all the moral support and also the legal support as and when there's a necessity for such.
Temba, the long-term damage that these children have suffered is untold, and I mean it will take some undoing. And where do the parents begin though now to help these youngsters when they themselves are just as traumatized and angry at what has happened?
100%. The trauma that these young men and women, because there could be more charges that will be coming up against this alleged perpetrator, is definitely untold. It is a scar that one will have for the rest of their lives. And that is part of the reason why we are advocating that they should be standby counsellors in such areas to make sure that these young boys and girls and women that may come to the fore with regards to this case receive the necessary psychological and physical assistance, because you know that this person not only used his influence in society, but also sexually abused these young people, and it is a scar that they'll definitely carry for a long time. What is important here is that we should make sure that such heinous crimes do not ever happen again. And we are calling on all political parties, specifically the ANC, to make sure that there is vetting of such, people, because it's not the first time allegations of this nature come up against this man. And, going into elections, we don't want a situation where we are voting in people who are scrupulous in character and who are devious in nature. So we want to make sure and call upon them to, really vet these people, and then with immediate effect right now, this person should be fired, and definitely as civil society and with all other forward-thinking organizations, we will be opposing bail. He should never see the light of day again.
And, the issue of vetting is really one that, is also at the heart of what we're talking about. And it is something that we are going to be speaking to some of those in the know about this. But Fannin, the ANC in the Northwest expressing shock at these allegations, saying that it's the first time that they hear of this. I wonder, from those you've dispatched to that particular area, was it the first time that they hear about these allegations, or has there always been some kind of talk on the ground?
No, we are not shocked at all. It is quite surprising that the ANC, but of course the ANC is forever careless of the truth. This councillor in question, and a pseudo pastor, is well known for nefarious activities. Not so long ago, in 2021, a case of murder was opened against him. To date, no one knows whether this case is still ongoing, whether this case went with impunity. So this character is known for such particular activities. Now, with this case...
So, Fannin, just before you move on, the ANC, speaking to my colleague Eldrin Sampier earlier on, they say that, that particular murder case, there was no DNA evidence. So, obviously, they then believed that because there was no evidence and he can continue, maybe it might be something that, was probably motivated by something else and fingers did not point towards him. They did talk about that, they know about that case. But when it comes to these allegations of rape and everything that we're talking about now, is it the first time that you were hearing of something like this?
Well, the breaking news, we all saw them sometime last week. However, this character, because he has always been followed by these allegations, there are women who complained about him before, but the cases were not recorded with the police, because it's quite known that from time to time when ANC leaders are implicated in cases of this nature, their cases are treated with kid gloves. So it's one of those cases that is, it was one of that situation where cases were reported and police never really paid and applied themselves fully and attentively to such an issue till now, when it has a sort of attention from all sectors of the society.
And are you concerned as the EFF that there may be other cases that maybe are going unreported in the area?
Yes, we are concerned, and actually we did release a statement where we communicated with the society and community members to say those who are victims and perhaps they are hiding because they are scared of being victimized by these political elites. They are worried that he might have some sort of connection with the South African Police Services and other law enforcement agencies. They must come forth, and as the EFF, we are going to avail a sort of a legal team to come and guide and also advise in terms of how best can we also protect such victims who comes forward seeking advice to the EFF. And yeah, that is our...
Temba, there's something else which is another layer in this particular story, and this is the circulation of these purported videos and these images that we continue to see on social media. These further add to the difficulty around this conversation. Let's talk about then the stigma that the families and these young people are going to have to now to deal with based on this.
100%, and that is part of the reason why we've made a plea and a call to society and those that are, in the social media space, in the media space, to please refrain from actually circulating these horrendous pictures and images and videos that are going on, because we must remember that it's not just about exposing the victim, but however, in doing that, sometimes we do also, make the victims rather become victimized secondarily again. So as much as we bring out the perpetrator, we should always be careful and mindful of protecting the victims of his crimes. And in this case, some are minors. Some are people who definitely would not like, these horrendous issues to be circulated, because they'd want to go back into society and live a fulfilling life once they've gone through the necessary undertaking. However, I want to just point out that, what is said is that, the men in South Africa do not rape because they know that it's wrong. They all know that it's wrong. But it's because, especially these ones in positions of power, such as pastors, such as, politicians and so on, they do it because they know that there are no consequences to it. And that's why, again, I'm calling out the police and the powers that be in terms of the courts to make sure that they react venomously when it comes to cases like these, especially with somebody who's a pseudo-pastor or somebody who is a prominent leader in society, such as a councillor. And again, for political parties to make sure that these people are rejected and are called out and made sure that they do not form part of leading any form of our societies.
And of course, a lot, to ponder on as you end off there, Themba. Let me thank you both for your time. Fannin, of course, as you say that, your team is on the ground, and I suppose we'll continue then to speak to you and the team just to see how things unfold there. But let me thank you both for your time. A very difficult conversation, just to have this afternoon. That is the EFF's Northwest Provincial Spokesperson, Fannin Moema, as well as Themba Masango, Secretary General of Not In My Name.